My thoughts on depression. That's a really deep question, but I'll try to make it as brief as I possibly can because it really contributes greatly to what I have been creating or working on this year as it relates to some of the things that we see out in the world in terms of inequality and injustice, because that kind of feeds into some of the sadness and despair that I have felt. But my thoughts on depression is that most of us have a tendency to treat it as a mental illness or a mental disorder. And I always get into these conversations with my friends. But I really believe that because we have so many external stimuli playing a part into how we are connecting with ourselves or not connecting with ourselves, or being attuned to our feelings and our emotions and our thoughts about what has happened to us, what is happening to us, or what may potentially happen to us. I'm not necessarily sure if that's a disorder of any kind, because as you can see around the world, a lot of people are having a hard time, and it's not necessarily due because I can't balance my thoughts. So I think my conversation around depression is a lot more compassionate than what I've heard, because it isn't as simple as taking a pill. It isn't as simple as going to therapists. It's really it's also about coping in this world and seeing a lot of things that you cannot change. You can't control how other people are conducting themselves, the choices and decisions that they make, or the acts of violence that they're partaking in. You can't control that. And me being a very highly sensitive person, I just think that I don't think that, because I just went through a depression for about 6 months sometime last year, and it was down in the darkness that I was able to find my strength to come out of it as a stronger, brighter individual. But that's not to say that I won't go back down into depression again. However, I am a happy-go-lucky, I think, person. I'm a happy-go-lucky person, and I think 9 out of 10 people who know me would never have imagined that I would have ever encountered depression. But I did. And now I'm a little bit sensitive to people when they say that depression is a mental disorder, because I just really believe I can cope. I have very good coping skills. I just think that sometimes emotionally things get too heavy, especially if you can't change them, especially with what we're seeing in the world today. So those are my thoughts. I mean, that's just a brief. I mean, I get in these conversations all the time. Most people don't agree with me, but I think we need to be more compassionate with how we talk about the subject of depression in this world, especially since there's so many more people in the world who are encountering it. And then also we have to pay attention to the fact that mental disorder or mental health is a huge trending topic today. So just being a little bit more compassionate in that conversation. I think it's great that we're having bringing a lot of attention to it. It deserves the attention. I just think that we need to be more compassionate in the way in which we speak about it. Because if I go to the doctor and somebody tells me I have a mental disorder, that's going to sit with me the wrong way. It's going to tell me that something's quote unquote wrong with me. And I don't necessarily think because external stimuli or external circumstances and situations outside of me, I can't correct them, but they are horrible or painful or deplorable or abhorrent. I can't change that. So I think, again, this is all me just saying my thoughts about depression and why I think we need to be a little bit more compassionate about how we talk about that subject.